Contractors, you need to start making content now. And I know you're probably telling yourself right now, you're a contractor, you've trained for something specific, you've told yourself as content creation has just blown up, the necessity like for content creation has blown up across the board. Told yourself, well, I don't know, I'm not a content creator. I'm just whatever. I'm just a tattoo artist. I'm just a hairstylist. I'm just whatever it happens to be. A massage therapist, a masseuse, whatever you want to call that. And at this point, it's just not true. I was going through one of the private tattoo artist specific forums earlier, and I keep seeing more and more and more, just exponentially growing, these posts about people doing smaller tattoos, less frequent tattoos, having to convince people to get work, just like having a much, much harder time doing their job than a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5, 10 years ago. And it's just, it's, it's only going to get worse. I know you don't want to hear this, but it's only going to get worse. Um, with the increase in necessities like housing, food costs, like those prices aren't going to go down anytime soon. People don't have money. I mean, some people probably have some money, but at this point, and increasingly into the future, they're not going to want to spend any of that money with this level of uncertainty looming on the horizon, like not being able to see any end in sight to the rising cost in housing. Like, I mean, a lot of major cities, my city, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. I've got Flying Eye Tattoo here, and we are deep, deep, deep in a housing crisis. Like, I think we're, 30, 35,000 units, 35,000 units short just in the city, just in this one city, to not be deep in a housing crisis, just to meet the threshold of no longer being in an active housing crisis. That's what we would need. Um, People need housing, people need food, people need lights, people need, I mean, in this day and age, need a phone, need internet. It's like, when's the last time that you got a paper application to a job? Um, it doesn't happen anymore. You need the internet. You need access to the internet to be able to function. Um, and I mean, you can get it at like libraries sometimes, maybe, but it's not reliable. Not it's not to the point, not to the level that you would need to really like function. Um, but so many people just across the board in so many industries, who, by the way, a lot of them are laying off massive amounts of people. A lot of them, they're trying to like reset the pay expectations in a lot of, especially like IT, those kind of tech jobs, who have been paying an actual living wage or higher for a little bit now. So a lot of these companies are just across the board all at the same time laying off massive numbers of people. And from a lot of the stuff that I've read, it seems like the goal is to try to make people desperate. They're eliminating positions and then relisting the same positions at a much lower salary. And they're just trying to reset pay expectations. They're trying to make people desperate so that they have to take that job because it's what they've spent their life training for. It's what they're specialized in. It's what they know. And so they have to take these jobs at a lower salary. And the only thing it's for is increasing shareholder profits. Um, but all these industries are doing this. At least a third, I'm sorry, at least 30%, I'm sorry, 3 out of 10 companies were found to have been posting fraudulent, non existent job openings on job boards. So, at the absolute best, the best case scenario is that about 30% of all the jobs listed in the United States, for all these job hunters who are now out of a job to try to find something to keep housing, to keep food, to stay alive, are fake. And if it's one of these companies is posting a dozen, 10, 20, 100 jobs, they're all fake. Like it just gets worse from there. So people are getting evicted more and more. People can't keep up with their rent. Moving forward, people will not have the level of discretionary income to spend on, especially like luxury industries like tattooing. Tattooing is not necessary. Like to live, you don't need a tattoo. Um, People making less and less money who may or may not have a job, maybe losing their housing, are not going to have the money to keep tattoo shops afloat. I mean, hell, right now today, I just saw that Subway is calling a crazy emergency meeting to discuss how much their profits have dropped so rapidly as we've kind of hit the threshold for what people can afford, like what people can pay for, want to pay for with the little money they have, if they have money. And yeah, like they're all going to keep hitting that mark, and it's just going to keep going downhill. Like when these companies don't pay the average person enough to be able to afford the things to keep the companies that are paying them alive, they're going to die. Bad things are going to happen. Those companies are going to have real trouble, and it's going to hurt real people. But with all of that, I don't mean to scare you too much. You cannot be left behind. Like the old way of doing things, just like, oh, well, I'm just going to head down and keep doing my job, and word of mouth will carry me the whole way. No, you need to start making content. Like whether it's video on YouTube or Instagram Reels or TikTok or whatever else, you need to go where the attention is. Because as fewer and fewer people peripherally around you in your community, around like the people who you have already worked with, as that money starts thinning out, you're going to need to access new people, new attention to survive. So if you're not good at video, if you don't like seeing yourself on camera, which that's just a fear thing to begin with. Most people that don't want to see themselves on camera, don't want to hear themselves on like a podcast or whatever, are just afraid of other people's judgment. Fuck other people. Fuck other people in their judgment. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But yeah, podcasts are another option. And just any way to expose yourself to a broader community of people that might be interested in whatever it is that you're offering. Even if it's maybe just increasing the number of posts that you make on, say, boomer social media, like Facebook, like Instagram, you have to be doing something. You have to be putting out content to be pushed out to a larger audience. And that doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't. Just take video of things that you're doing. Like if I'm setting up my tattoo station, I could just set up my phone or a camera or whatever is available. I mean, all phones basically at this point have decent cameras on them, decent enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be grainy. It can be fucking not the best lighting. Totally fine. Totally fine. Just something. Just put out something to remind people, put you in people's heads, remind them that you exist, and show them what you do. Show them some of your personality. Show them your environment. Like give them some idea of like your vibe. Even if it's just you like going on a supply run. Like when I go out to buy distilled water and razors and just stuff from like the pharmacy or whatever, like those type of supplies for use in tattooing. Just take your phone, take a little video of you walking along, kind of talking to the phone as you're picking stuff out. Like, oh, I don't like that one because like I've had bad luck with that one. People have reactions to this, or this one's too expensive, and this one's about the same as that, but higher quality. And like anything, just anything at all. Give people an idea of who you are. Because people want to be able to relate to a real person, and you have to show them who you are. Whoever is closest to the customer wins. Whoever is willing to show people who they are will win. And you might not see much return from it in the short term. Um, that's totally fine because you're not engaging in sales. You are building brand. You're not like making every video like, hey, here's something that gives you an idea of who I am. No, pay me money. Pay me money. Buy my thing. Buy my shirt. Buy my whatever it is you happen to sell. Come get a massage. And I understand not everybody has the time to do a whole bunch of involved stuff, like extra stuff, especially if you're already running your business. You definitely at least want to try to have some sort of work life balance, which when you own your own business, we know it basically doesn't exist anyways. It all bleeds together. But having some sort of separation from business sometimes, and that's okay. I get that. I really, really get that. Nobody wants to get burnt out, but you just have to be consistent. And whether that looks like making one post a day, 3 posts a day, 5 posts a day, or one post a week when you normally just kind of do it sporadically, or maybe like once every month or every couple of weeks. If you just commit to, like, I don't know, one little short paragraph post every couple of days, or have something that people can expect like every Friday, you'll put out a 60-second TikTok, just something with some sort of regularity that keeps you top of mind, keeps you in your customer's head. Because as soon as I saw that last post on that tattoo forum, the only thing that went through my head is I've seen these patterns. I've seen these patterns before. I've lived through it. I started tattooing around 2008. And I said in this thread, if you haven't been through 2008, if you haven't tattooed through it, if you haven't worked as a contractor through kind of this kind of economic instability, good luck. You're going to have issues. Like, you're going to have some stuff that you need to work out. It's going to be really, really rough. Um, I mean, even though I've been through it and I know people that have been through it, it's still going to be hard. I have a real good feeling that it's not going to truly turn around for us, for little guys, anytime soon. Because I mean, if you look at all the news about, oh, the stock market's doing great, that's not representative of real people that have to, like, work for a living, like have to go to the factory and press your button for $12 an hour. Like, that is the stock market. Stock market is not representative of any of us. Like, oh, the Dow Jones is great. Yeah, cool. I can't afford a Big Mac. Like, that is important to, like, real people. Like, whether or not I can afford a pound of ground beef on, like, the top salary for an hourly worker, whatever business that I work at. Like, can I afford my rent? That's the real indicator of how, like, real people existing in the world are doing. And consumer spending is the backbone of our entire economy. If people don't have money to spend on things, everything crumbles all the way up. It just might take longer for the people at the top to feel it, like Subway is right now. But while we're waiting for them to feel it and actually go through the motions to change anything, we're still going to have to live in these conditions. So we need to be able to adapt. I want to see real people succeed. I want to see everybody do well, because a rising tide lifts all ships. When you do well, when we do well, I do well, and vice versa. But you gotta start creating content. Gotta start creating content. It is a necessity at this point. Like, if you've been able to skate along up to this point, that's awesome, but you have to start leaning into it if you really want to survive for the long term. Why do I say that now is the time to start? Because it's like a shade tree. It's like that old saying. The best time to plant a shade tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. When's the best time to start creating content and building those skills to make it a habit, to get good at it? 10, 20 years ago. When's the second best time? Right now. So if you have any sort of questions about like video creation, podcasting, audio and video editing, I mean, anything at all involving content creation, gear, definitely leave me a comment. I'll do what I can to get back to it and answer anybody's questions, anything that you have. Yeah, just I hope to see you start making some content. And other than that, just don't forget to follow me. And I would like to thank Patreon supporters and the And Now the Band podcast and the Gore Club podcast for sponsoring some of these videos. So until next time, stay rad, y'all.